Welcome to Retire Hour, the weekly show discussing income planning, investing, tax planning, estate planning, and Medicare. Complete retirement education. Hear from our financial advisors, CPA, estate planning attorney, and Medicare advisor every week. This is Retire Hour.
Welcome into Retire Hour, the weekly show that helps you stay up to date on the ever-changing landscape of retirement. And it's no news flash, but we're going to have a new government here soon, just within about less than 20 days here, or 30 days here. And when that new government comes in, how are you going to ensure that these tax changes to maybe healthcare, changes to maybe the estate planning laws, changes to maybe the economy, how are you going to navigate those changes if you're not getting a complete team to help you and cooperate with your plan in retirement? And what I mean by that is I've mentioned previously, I see a broken retirement system in America. And how can you even manage your wealth without tax advice? But this broken system in America, you normally have someone for your Medicare advice or your healthcare coverage that reviews those plans with you, or maybe helps you save money on those plans, or when your health situation changes, reviews how maybe the plan could have some gaps, so you need to make some changes. Those are important people to have out there in retirement. They help you navigate the health landscape. But maybe you have an estate planner, or maybe you haven't got around to doing your estate plan. Maybe you work with a financial advisor or an institution, maybe a company or a bank or your old 401k, wherever. But the thing I find most people are missing in their retirement planning advice is a tax advisor. And furthermore, maybe you even have all these people. Maybe you have the Medicare, maybe you have the estate planning professional, maybe you have the financial advisor, and maybe you have someone that does your taxes. But if they're not cooperating together around the same table for your plan, then how can you tell if you're maximizing the situation for your benefit? Or even worse yet, how do you know if there's not a costly mistake going on in the background? When to start Social Security? Do you need to withhold anything out of that? Should you withhold too much? Or are you withholding too much? Because you don't want to do that. That's an interest-free loan to the government. I get back to my main point. The retirement system in America, in my opinion, is broken. Because you as the retiree, you have to go to all these different professionals: the Medicare advisor, the estate planner, the financial advisor, the tax advisor, which is different than a tax preparer. And if you're not meeting with these people and this team, I mentioned this earlier, how do you truly manage wealth? If you're just focused on the investments, if you're only paying attention to the healthcare changes every year, it can be problematic. More often than not, we find people make these costly mistakes in retirement because they've got too much on their plate. They're not trained to do these things on a day in, day out basis. And I mentioned earlier, it changes. We're going to have a change in our government. There are a lot of changes from the Inflation Reduction Act that had, in what a lot of us around here view as almost a negative impact on Medicare. And if the next administration repeals that, it's going to have changes there too. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is set to expire at the end of next year. If you've listened to this program for years, you've heard about us talk about how that is a hard deadline. Now, maybe that we have a Republican government coming in, we could see some extensions of some of those tax cuts. But just like I talked about in my retirement class I taught last night, I feel the two biggest risks for people retiring or getting ready to retire, that generation, the two biggest risks, in my opinion, over the next 10 years will be inflation and taxes. And if you don't have someone or a team that can speak to the tax changes and maximize them for your benefit, or maybe, God forbid, they're not good tax changes, maybe they're terrible ones, you need to have this advice that can help you navigate this. Unfortunately, retirement is not a set it and forget it game. Yeah, you can go a while and maybe you don't even realize anything's hurting you or costing you money. But just take IRMA, for example, that income-related monthly adjustment amount. That amount that's like a 2-year rolling window, and it has to do with how much your income is. And if your income goes over certain limits, they penalize you, or I call it a sneaky tax. They start sneakily taxing you in the background and charging you more for your Part B Medicare and Part D, your drug plan. And oftentimes in my class, I'll pose the question, well, is keeping you under the IRMA limits, is that your Medicare guy's responsibility or Medicare person's responsibility to let you know those income limits every year? Is it your financial advisor? Is it the bank? Is it your 401k company? Is it their responsibility to tell you what those IRMA limits are every year and make sure you don't take too much money out of your accounts and unnecessarily cost yourself more for Medicare in a couple of years? Or worse yet, are you not working with this team and you're not getting tax planning? Well, and is it maybe your tax advisor's job to tell you about IRMA? And really, I can make the argument, I can pose it where, truthfully, IRMA, it's that income-related monthly adjustment. Really, the financial advisor, the Medicare professional, and the tax professional, they all need to be working as a team to help you stay under those IRMA limits and not cost yourself more for your Medicare unnecessarily or needlessly. But the challenge is if you're working with all these different professionals separately, this is exactly my point. This is exactly what I'm getting about on how our retirement system is broken in America. And it's because it's fragmented. It puts the responsibility on you, the listener, the viewer, the retiree. It puts the responsibility on your shoulders to make sure if you have these multiple professionals helping you with your retirement, that you take time out of your busy schedule in retirement. You take time away from the things you want to do in retirement. It takes you more time, room for errors for miscommunication, but it's your responsibility to go between all these different people if they're not working in cooperation around the same table. And if you're asking yourself, man, my financial advisor didn't even bring up tax planning the end of this year. Maybe I looked at my Medicare, maybe I didn't. But if you're asking yourself, if you're questioning maybe are you as prepared as you thought you were, reach out and schedule a 15-minute chat with us by phone at 833-MAG-REPORT. Or that's 833, the letters MAG, stands for Market Advisory Group, Report. We'd love to have a chat with you by phone, or maybe you're already ready to come in and you live near any of our offices in the Kansas City or Wichita area. We'd love to meet with you in person there. But sometimes it just helps to get a little bit of clarity to some questions you have, and you can get that by scheduling that 15-minute call with us, again, at 833-MAG-REPORT, or that's 833, the letters MAG, report. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Jonathan McCoy, coming from Kansas City, with a very interesting story about a tale of two sisters. Stay tuned.
Are you worried about your retirement? Do you have an entire team looking out for your investments, taxes, estate plans, and healthcare? At Market Advisory Group, we have professionals in all 4 areas available to give you the help you need for your future. Find out why our team approach can give you confidence in your plan moving forward with a free consultation. Call 833-MAG-PLAN. That's 833-MAG-PLAN. Or visit marketadvisorygroup.com. Market Advisory Group. Invested in you.
Do you find yourself at a loss for the complexities of retirement? Do topics like phantom income, required minimum distribution, and Medicaid spend down utterly confuse you? Market Advisory Group has free webinars for you to watch, including finances and investing, taxes, estate planning, Medicare, and more. Go to marketadvisorygroup.com to kickstart your retirement education. Market Advisory Group. Invested in you.
Financial advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program.
Welcome back into Retire Hour, the weekly show that helps you stay up to date on the ever-changing landscape of retirement. And what do I mean by that? Well, I was saying earlier, we're going to have a new government here coming up in less than 30 days, and there will be changes to probably the tax code. There could be changes economically that you need to adjust in your portfolio, and there could be even changes to your healthcare or your estate plan. And if you're not working with a team, it can make you not feel as confident because you don't have all this clarity out there. And going to go up to Jonathan McCoy in Kansas City. You met with two actually sisters that you met with them separately. Did they go to the same class? Did they watch you on TV? How did both sisters come in and meet with you? That's not something we see every day, right?
Yeah, not typical. So Donna was actually the one that came to our class originally. She had, over the last several months, viewed some of our webinars on estate planning and things, and ended up coming to one of our Social Security presentations to kind of help people get an idea of, what are the different timing and filing strategies, how are the tax laws organized around Social Security. So Donna came in first, and she was really the one that I think felt like she was struggling a little bit more to get prepared for retirement, but her and her sister had been really kind of attached at the hip. Now, they weren't twins, but they were about a year apart in age. And Donna wound up having more children throughout her life and had to provide more financial support, especially through a divorce and things. So Donna just felt like she was a little more behind the eight ball in terms of that preparation for retirement. So that's why she came and sat down with us. And she explained some of her frustrations with her 401k plan and how it become more and more difficult, and the fees, and difficult to deal with them, and the fees had gone up. So ultimately, Donna had referred Leslie to us, and Leslie came in about a month after the first time that we met with Donna. And Leslie was actually the one that said, my sister and I have always planned on retiring at least in about the same year, so that we can spend time with each other's nieces and nephews and our grandkids together. We all live in the same neighborhood. We want to be able to spend that time together and not be forced, for one of us to have to continue to go to work. So, we talked with them and worked with them, somewhat independently, but it became evident, especially when I met with Donna as she was signing on with us, that that timing between these two sisters of when they retire was actually going to be a big piece to their happiness and living the lifestyle that they want to live in retirement.
And isn't that great, though? You had one sister that came to one of our classes. They learned about something that was important enough to them to come in and get even more information on, but then that went even further to the sister. And,
right.
I'm similar age of my sibling. If I would decide to retire at the same time, I'm sure that I know Larry works with one sister and I work with another sister, but I've not met with both sisters at the same time. These are common concerns, though, that people have, right? They're frustrated they can't get answers from their typical financial advisor on these questions.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they both had, the similar common concerns like you described in the first segment around what are the taxation impacts? Are we going to be able to afford our health care? What happens if something happens to us, and who's going to be there to manage our estate? Well, in this circumstance, we had the benefit of being able to meet with our estate planning attorney, Doug, and actually meet with both of them individually to say, you're comfortable having your sister as things like power of attorney and trustee and different things that go into place when we talk about the estate planning piece. But ultimately, I found this story unique because of that timing aspect. You had two very different households financially that ultimately had some very similar goals in terms of what they wanted to do with their retirement lifestyle, and but we still see that these tax impacts, these healthcare impacts, these estate planning impacts are effectively the same types of concerns that just need to be addressed in different ways for these two sisters. And while we were building one plan for Donna to kind of help get her retirement plan built up a little bit more over the last couple of years before they plan to retire, and pay down some debt, shift some things around in terms of how she was saving and saving money for retirement and paying down debt. Leslie, it was a little more straightforward. Our main goal was to set up very sturdy streams of income for her for retirement, making sure that her Social Security plan was in place, and that taxes were not going to be sort of this ever draining bleeding cut from her portfolio, because she was going to be highly likely to be forced into higher tax brackets because of required minimum distributions and other things. So again, two very different circumstances, but we see this across the board with all of the households that we meet with, which is you can have a wide variety. You can have somebody with $10 million and you can have somebody with $10,000. And a lot of times we find that it comes back to the same common concerns, which is, we don't want to be forced to work the rest of our lives. And we want to spend more time with our family, and we want to do whatever we can financially to secure those lifestyle-oriented things. And that's why we do a lot of the planning we do, is it's got to be focused around lifestyle first.
Well, but just back to what you said there, you were able to help two, is it Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities? I mean, you were really
Tale of Two Sisters. Yeah, perfect.
Tale of Two Sisters. You were really able to help two different very scenarios there. And I will often preach, hey, guys, there's a reason we help the people we do. We don't have to make everyone our client. That's not how we work. But we're always happy to give someone 60 minutes of our time for that initial consultation to maybe just see if we're a good fit or if we can even help their situation. But back
Exactly
to
right.
you said the difference of day and night, whether it's the $10 million client or the $10,000 client, you can be at different points in your retirement journey, and we can help with that because it's never too early to start and it's never really too late to start.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got to give the credit in this case to Leslie because she was the one that I think Donna was feeling a little bit, self-conscious about. She didn't want to have to hold her sister back from her ability to retire. And Leslie was the one that brought it to the table. We've always talked our entire lives that we want to retire about the same time to spend time with our families together. And that's where that consultation process is so important because, unique circumstance of it being sisters, but we can relate it also to how our departments communicate between each other. If we're not asking folks the right questions, most of the time people don't know to ask us. We come across that all the time. But credit to these two sisters for sticking to their plan, and we're very happy to have the opportunity to have met them.
And maybe you're listening out there and you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm frustrated that I don't have a plan or that my advisor can't help me with these questions when I answer or ask them of him and I can't get answers. Or maybe you're worried, my financial advisor, they've done a really great job of my investments, but yeah, I don't have any areas of tax planning. I don't have any areas of estate planning taken care of or recently updated. Or, it would be really interesting if I could benefit from working with this whole team. And that's why we've set up this 15-minute phone call for you guys to have with us. You can schedule that comfort of your home, your car, your office, wherever you're at. Just reach out and get on our calendar just to have a 15-minute chat with us. And you can do that by calling 833-MAG-REPORT, or that's 833, the letters MAG for Market Advisory Group. Someone said I left off the A on that, but nope, I did not leave off the A on that. Report, or you can go over to our website at retirehour.com or marketadvisorgroup.com. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back with this week's listener segment asking how truckers should invest their retirement with Larry Clefcorn. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Out on the water, there is a moment. Perfect synchronization. The team working together in harmony to reach their goal. Now, imagine finding a team of financial professionals to help run your course down the river of retirement. Market Advisory Group is that team. Financial advisors, tax professionals, estate planning attorneys, and Medicare advisors. All in the same boat. All pulling in the same direction. Toward the same purpose. Your retirement's financial security. We are Market Advisory Group. Proud sponsor of Shocker Rowing.
Welcome back into Retire Hour, the weekly show that helps you stay up to date on the ever-changing landscape of retirement. And if you're watching this on our online platform or on Cox Cable 22, you might notice I am decked out in wind surge gear. And if you don't know what the wind surge is, it's the Wichita baseball team. And speaking of retirement, my buddy retires this week, Jay Miller, the president of the baseball team over there, and I've got his retirement party to go to later. So that's why I'm all Mr. Wind Surge today.
Thanks for everything you did, Jay, for Wichita.
Jay has done amazing things for Wichita and that baseball team and that ballpark. So, but that kind of segues into our listener question this week. And I don't know that Jay is a truck driver.
Right.
But the listener question goes, how should truckers invest in their retirement? And the question is submitted by Sean S. And Sean, we thank you for that question. If you provided your mailing address there online, we'll be sending you out a thank you, whether it's an umbrella, a coffee mug, lots of things we've got there. But to make a investment recommendation, I mean, I know this as a fiduciary, you're probably going to need more than just how should truckers invest in their retirement.
Right. It starts like most of our, all of our meetings with people is we first need to find out the specifics about their background, their current situation. that has everything to do with it. And so when we turn our attention to truckers in particular, and it just so happens I have some truckers, I have some that just run a route out to Western Kansas or somewhere, every day, and they're back. And then I have some over-the-road truckers where they're back about every 100 days. And
big difference in that job, and probably maybe even if they're self-employed or a corporate worker.
There you
too.
go. Oftentimes they'll be contractors, and so they're self-employed, and so that is a distinction right there. So if you're one of those, then you're going to be looking at maxing out IRA retirement accounts, but you may also, and this is where you could benefit from seeing financial advisors who have tax advisors, because you may benefit from a SEP IRA, okay, which gives you much higher giving limits. I can't tell you a whole lot more than that because I don't have a license. That's right.
You're not licensed to give tax advice. We can go down the hall and get a CPA though if you need to.
Yeah.
Joshua, Robert, one of the other, a couple others. But that is so true. And maybe what Sean's trying to ask here is when he says the questions of how should truckers invest through retirement. I don't know that risk tolerance. I don't know that your retirement plan really has to do with what you did specifically for a living, because a trucker has to have a household budget just like a doctor should, or a financial advisor, or whoever the profession is. And if you don't have that monthly budget and then know what your Social Security amount will be, you really are asking for a lot here, Sean, for us to say how should truckers invest in their retirement.
And not only should they focus on retirement accounts, but stuffing every dime away that you can in even regular type of accounts, savings accounts, brokerage accounts, what have you, because that tax diversification is good.
Tax diversification is just as important, in my opinion, as income or asset diversification. Because when the clients go through retirement, they want to take the withdrawal out. Oftentimes, if they have only one pot of money, it just means they're going to trigger more in income taxes, sometimes trigger more in Social Security taxes. But if they have the tax-free account as well, and like you mentioned, the after-tax, it helps to blend how you take the money out, and it helps the retiree control taxes that they pay in retirement more.
It gives you options.
And I like options.
Yeah, everyone likes options. That's why there was a Baskin Robbins.
37 flavors, right? No, 31. That's it. But this is something where Sean could, and whoever is listening, they could benefit by going through our MAG report process, learning a tailored approach to them. Because you wouldn't give, I bet the truckers that you have as clients, because you said you have a couple, I bet you built them the same plan, all three of them. That's sarcasm.
Yeah, right. They don't look anything alike. And we've even done some reviews for these over-the-road truckers, and I'll say, hey, where are you? Out in California, and just dropped off this load, going to pick up this one. But, a real key to this, people, all the listeners out there, save money. Pay yourself first. Look at it that way. Yep. Pay yourself first.
Wonderful.
What it's saved in is not as important as that part right there.
That's so true. That's so true. You have to save first. If you're spending more than you're making, you're going backwards. That's a pretty simple point there. But if they're not doing a budget, if they're not watching this, and you have to stay on that budget, you can't just set a budget and forget it. Mm-hmm. You have to watch it. And if you're not watching it, how do you know where it's going? And maybe you're concerned out there and you have a question just like Sean, what's the right retirement investment for you? Well, reach out and have a 15-minute chat with us just to see if you could benefit from going through our full-blown MAG report process. And you can do that by calling our toll-free number at 833-MAG-REPORT, or that's 833, the letters MAG for Market Advisory Group report. That report stands for the Retirement Evaluation Process, Other Risks, and Taxes. We go through a comprehensive look of your situation, not just the investment part. That's what everyone tends to focus on. but your tax risks, your Social Security options, your estate plan, what healthcare options are you going to need, your income need in retirement. There's so much more to it, guys, than just the investments. And if you don't have that complete team helping you, again, reach out to schedule a 15-minute call with us at 833-MAG-REPORT, or that's 833, the letters MAG for Market Advisory Group Report. And again, go out to our website at retirehour.com or marketadvisorygroup.com. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break talking with Buddy the Elf, it looks like here. I'm not sure what's coming in here. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss this.
Every client we work with deserves a custom-made plan to fit them.
We can take any situation that's thrown in front of us, look at what fears they may be, trying to work through it, and come up with very creative solutions.
We are unique to people that are seeking to try to have the complex things more simple.
We work together as a team. As an advisor, it'll come up with tax questions. It's great to have a CPA here in the office that can answer those questions and give them accuracy.
Market Advisor Group, proud to be local.
I need a place to go to see about my investments. Ask my friends if they know about holistic retirement. Everything in one place. Estates, taxes, and Medicare. People meeting face to face. Advisors to help me get there.
At Market Advisory Group. Retirement under one roof. At Market Advisory Group. We're invested in you.
Oh, lots to laugh about here. It's always good to laugh no matter what's going on. Hey, well, if you only listen to us on the radio, a lot of what I'm probably going to talk about in this next segment might have you scratching your head, but go out and check out on our website. You can see the video recording we do every week, and we also push this to several television stations. So if you're getting to watch it on TV, you're in for a treat. You know, I don't know if you can see in the reflection in the glass, we've got the Christmas tree up in the lobby. We've got the garland wreath here across the desk. And I've been told from my producer, it's not Buddy the Elf. We've got Benny. We couldn't afford
That's
Buddy.
Right. That's right.
So
Benny.
we went with Benny the Elf.
Well, Buddy's busy. He's also in New York right now. he's got another gig that he works on, and so I told him I'd get out here on the radio.
I thought you were one of those singing Christmas card thingies when you were walking through the lobby.
No,
right? I thought someone had played a nasty joke on me.
Well, that comes later. be careful when you go into your office.
I'll bet. This is Mark Benefil. He's one of our Medicare advisors. Medicare Advantage Open Enrollment, or AKA Benny the Elf. Most people think that the enrollment is over with because December 7th happened, but actually there's another period and there's a couple of different things. Health insurance is just so screwy. Because I was at a class this last week.
It's because it's run by the government.
Oh, no, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that's easy. That's all the time we have this week for Retire Hour. We'll be right back. No, but the Medicare, I thought open enrollment's over.
It is annual enrollment. AEP is over, ended on December 7th.
Okay, well, then what starts January 1st? There's another period?
Well, in our ongoing effort to confuse everybody with Medicare, there's another period a lot of people don't know about, and that's called Medicare Advantage Open Enrollment. And what that is, that's another opportunity that goes from basically January 1 through March that allows anybody who has a Medicare Advantage plan to make one additional change per year. So let's just say you were in an Advantage plan, and through the process and working with us, we decided to switch you to a different Advantage plan for 2025. Maybe you got into that Advantage plan for some reason, and it didn't meet your needs, or your doctor dropped out, or some medications that you had to have were changed and weren't covered properly. You have the opportunity to change that one additional time a year during the Medicare annual Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period.
So this only counts for people that are on Advantage.
Correct. If you have a prescription drug plan only, or if you have a original Medicare with a supplement, this period doesn't apply to you. It only applies to make changes if you have an Advantage plan.
See, I don't know why people get so confused with all this. That's sarcasm, by the way.
I understand.
This stuff is screwy. And just as I was talking at the beginning of the show, when we're going to have a new government come in, a lot of the changes, and I apologize, I maybe spoke for you and I shouldn't have, but a lot of the changes, I think, with the Inflation Reduction Act, I think had a negative impact on Medicare.
Oh, absolutely. I would call it the law of unintended consequences. They made some great changes that on the surface sound fantastic. Hey, let's drop everybody's drug costs maximum $2,000. And some people are on 8, 9, 10, 15 medications that can be very, very expensive. And for a lot of people, that did change and lower their costs. Unfortunately, it also resulted in diminished benefits to Advantage plans, higher costs, higher premiums for prescription drug plans. Everybody got touched by it in one way or another.
I was going to say, what you haven't really talked about is actually the agent itself, the agent that helps people with these Medicare policies. There was a couple of drug plan policies out there that just stopped paying them commissions.
That's correct. There were some that have decided, and kind of a disturbing trend, that basically leaving people on their own. If you need prescription drug coverage and you were in a couple of different plans, if you wanted to make any change to those plans, you had to go do it yourself. And there was no way around it. You had to go online and figure it out.
And a lot of people that I help in retirement, some may be capable of doing that. There are a lot that are not. Mm-hmm. And that was really a big challenge. And I was mentioning this at the beginning of the show. So we're probably going to see some changes to that, wouldn't you think, over the next couple of years?
I would think so. I think they're going to have to correct that. And I think that we're going to see some changes to Medicare, not because of incoming administration. We're going to see some changes to Medicare because of I don't know if you want to call it the Easter eggs that are left behind by previous, and I'm not even going to say administration. I'm going to say Congress in general.
Yeah, the laws.
Congress made these laws,
right?
And Congress has, I think, arbitrarily been holding some costs down. And they can only be held down for so long. And there's going to be some sunset on some of those things, and it's going to have to be addressed again. And I'm a little concerned for my Medicare when I get there, if I get there.
Well, I hope you get there.
Santa's plan only takes you up through 65.
Well, Benny, you're not always the good elf. I do know that. So the tragic thing here is, I think you're exactly right. I think the unfunded liabilities with Medicare, I think there will be changes. This is probably what Nancy Pelosi means when she says things like, well, we have to pass it to know what's in it. Because they pass these massive bills and it has all these unintended consequences to them. You call them Easter eggs. That's a polite way of saying landmines, cow plops, if we're really, going to go back to our Kansas roots. And these cow plops that are in all these bills and legislation, I think the next administration will tweak things. And I think it will probably be for the better. But if you don't have someone that can help you navigate those things, good luck on your own.
Yeah, and if you ever have the opportunity, you have some interest in what we do. I mean, go to our website, Market Medicare Advisors, and check out the reviews. I mean, you have review after review after review of people indicating, wow, I'm glad I didn't try to do this on my own, or I did this on my own in the past, and we were very, very helpful. We pride ourselves on those reviews, and we pride ourselves on helping people navigate and save money. I mean, we have story after story here every week of us helping people undoing situations, helping people guide them through the process and saving them thousands of dollars a year, and it happens literally all the time.
So back to this week's topics and stuff went rail off the rail. Speaking of those things that change all the time, so if you're on this if you're on a Medicare Advantage plan and you feel like you made a mistake, you can come back in and change that January 1st.
Absolutely. And the mistakes go across the board. I mean, sometimes, the plan itself makes a mistake. There's an enrollment. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds, millions and millions of enrollments coming through, and sometimes things slip through the cracks. I'm dealing with one of those right now, and we'll get that fixed, and we'll get it fixed January 1.
And then I'm not even going to ask you what this is, but I had someone else that said she missed her window to sign up for it, and so there's like some window that if she wants her insurance by February, Kim's helping her up in Kansas City. It was kind of a mess. She believe it or not, she's she moved here from Oklahoma, but she's originally from Ukraine. She's got a 10-year-old son. It's her situation. She's widowed. It was just tragic. And as a financial advisor, the questions she was asking me after the class, I just called Kim because it's like, I have no idea what this person's saying. Here, you talk to them. It's really a challenge out there for the retiree to navigate these issues. And if you're frustrated, maybe you're even worried, or maybe you're starting to ask yourself questions and say, man, do I really have my stuff together as much as I thought? Reach out to schedule a 15-minute chat with us, and you can find out more about your unique situation by calling 833-MAG-REPORT. That's 833, the letters MAG, Market Advisory Group Report. Or you can go over to our website at retirehour.com or marketadvisorygroup.com. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Gerald Eidelman giving you some estate planning tips for all these family gatherings that you might be coming up with later. Stay tuned.
Are your healthcare prices going to change? Market Medicare Advisors can help you review any changes to your plan. We are determined to help make your Medicare as simple and understandable as possible. And you can schedule an appointment with one of us to review any changes or if there's a better plan out there for you. Call Market Medicare Advisors at 844-4-MEDI-HELP. That's 844-4-MEDI-HELP. Or visit marketmedicareadvisors.com. Managing assets, documents, or crucial decisions for yourself or a family member is no simple task. Estate planning is your legacy, and nobody knows this better than Eidelman Law Firm. In estate planning, meeting with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor helps you prepare for your life and legacy. When you put together an estate plan, you will be prepared for the present and future. This should not be delayed. Call 1-800-4-ESTATE or visit us online at eidelmanlawfirm.com. Eidelman Law Firm. Live for today, plan for tomorrow.
Welcome back into Retire Hour, the weekly show that helps you stay up to date on the ever-changing landscape of retirement. And I mentioned we're going to have a new government that's coming next year. Make sure you're maximizing it for you and your family. But speaking of family, I guess we just had Benny the Elf in here. Now we've got, what would we call you?
Santa's helper.
Santa's helper. Okay, that's fine. I was going to go, it's not Santa Claus.
Well, now the beard, right?
And the beard for it, and you probably have some pounds to go. But Christmas time with the family is really a time to talk about estate planning?
Well, it's time to talk about it. It's time to think about it. I get people all the time that during the year they come in and they're thinking of putting their estate plan together. And then they have questions. Well, who should we put in charge of this? Who should be responsible for that? What about the grandkids and these little things? And they say, well, we're going to have some sort of get together later on, and we'll decide. And thus they postpone their estate plan for that potential meeting. And Christmas is a particularly good time, because families are gathering together, mostly, it's a joyous occasion.
Mostly.
And it's a good time to talk about certain things about your estate plan. I think you have to walk a delicate line. If you're just going to talk about what happens to you after death, I think that will bring the whole mood down, and it may not be the
hey, pass the gravy. Hey, when I'm dead, I want you to have my car.
That's right. But it's a good time to talk about, well, what happens to me if I'm sick? What happens when I'm old? Who wants to intervene first? What responsibilities do you want to have? And it's also a time for you to reflect, as you're surrounded by family, about what you want your legacy to be. You don't have to talk about it. I know a lot of parents don't want to tell their kids what they're leaving for them or what they have.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not necessary.
You can get into different levels of conversations with family members.
That's right.
You can get I have clients that want to bring their kids into the meeting, and that's fantastic if that's what they want to do. Yeah. So we have that continuity. I already know the kid before, or the children before mom maybe or dad have some ailments where they can't maybe think as clearly as they used to anymore, or they have a health scare. You can get as detailed as you want, and you can say, hey, they're not going to know anything until they get it. Right. But that is not the point you're trying to make.
No. The whole idea is that, look, this is a good time to prepare your estate plan, which you may not execute at this moment, but you can have a plan set up so that once you're ready to execute, once the new year goes by, you have an idea of what you're doing. You're not coming into my office and wondering, well, I'm not sure. And this doesn't apply just to family. It applies to friends as well. There's a large number of people who have no family. I mean, it's sad, but it's true.
It is a fact out there that there are a percentage of the population that don't have anyone or anything, and then they need to even rethink their conversation as they're getting together with their loved ones around the holidays and say, hey, Gerald, if you've asked me to be a trustee, right?
That's right.
And so, I mean, that was a conversation you and I had. It wasn't around Christmas.
No.
But I'll see you in a couple weeks here.
Yeah.
But no, it was a conversation to say, hey, Matt, I really want you to be this person in my estate plan and this person for me. And it was a conversation we had, and you don't have any brothers or sisters here in town.
Right.
Your mother's older than you.
Yeah.
Is it your kids? Well, probably not.
No.
No. That was just a conversation we had. And these are the types of conversations you're encouraging because we're around the ones we care about and the ones that hopefully care about us. It makes it a little easier to have those conversations at those times when we're all together, because when actually I've seen a lot of conversations happen in my family at funerals.
I know, it's terrible. Yeah.
The two things I hear most at funerals are, why are we always getting together at these things? We always say we're going to get together outside of these things, and we're always seeing each other at funerals. And then secondly, do you think they had everything taken care of? And then oftentimes the stuff comes out of the woodwork where they didn't.
They didn't, yeah. And like I said, so it's a wonderful opportunity for you to begin to think about what you want, particularly with legacy. You're going to be around grandkids maybe. You might have ideas about what you want little Johnny or little Susie to get as a gift from you in the future, her education, his education. These are all things that can give you a clear idea of what your estate plan is going to be. You can always tweak it in the future. You can always make some changes. But if you don't have a plan in place, well,
don't worry, the state has one for you.
That's right.
And that's not a good thing.
You're not going to like it. No.
No, and then it has to go through probate. And if you're thinking to yourself out there, we've put off our estate plan, or maybe our estate plan's older than 5 or 6 years, you really should have a conversation with this estate planning team to make sure your affairs are in order. None of us know when we're going to be called home. I lost a dear friend of mine this past week in an accident. You must make sure that you have your affairs in order, because even if you're younger, tomorrow is not promised, guys. And if you wonder, what does this process look like, and you have more questions, reach out and schedule a 15-minute chat with us by calling 833-MAG-REPORT, or that's 833, the letters MAG, stands for Market Advisory Group Report. We'd love to have just a 15-minute chat with you wherever you're at to make sure your situation is fully covered and all buttoned up just as much as you think it is. Well, I don't know how the phrase goes. You can pick your family, you can pick your friends. No, that's not it. But we'll stay tuned. We'll be right back with pick your trustee. We'll be back with more Retire Hour and Joshua Sikora, lead CPA, right after this.
Market Tax Services knows retirement is the promise you have spent your working career to fulfill. But are those savings in danger from unexpected taxes? That's where the team at Market Tax Services comes into play. We meet and help people just like you every day. The best part? Our team of in-house CPAs and tax professionals not only assist with tax savings, but tax planning as well. Call Market Tax Services at 833-2-TAX-PLAN or visit markettaxservices.com.
How much money in taxes will you owe when you retire? If you don't know, that's okay. Let us help you. Market Tax Services has created retirementtax.com just for you. This brand new website is user-friendly and features accessible information and a helpful tool, the Retirement Tax Calculator. Click on the button and find out how much you're set to owe in less time than it took me to read this script. Again, that's retirementtax.com. Your home for taxes in retirement.
phrase I was trying to tell Gerald before the break was you can pick your friends. You can pick your friends. You can pick your nose, but you can't pick, or you shouldn't pick your friend's nose.
And I think the same thing applies to trustees too. I was really just thinking, man, after that Debbie Downer of an outro, no pressure on the tax segment.
That's all the time we have this week for Retire Hour. Josh was skipping out. He's chickening out. He doesn't want to do the rest of the show. No, what you and I were going to talk about this time of year, you have a gift for me.
Yeah,
not that kind of gift.
Not that kind of gift. So I thought, this is our Christmas episode. Maybe we should talk about gifts, right?
I can deduct the gifts I give all the brats. I mean, my family members that I give.
People ask about that routinely, and I always say only if your children are actually a charity.
Oh, I feel like they are. They are certainly a nonprofit.
Yeah.
But gifts, you always say in the meetings that my clients are asking you tax questions about gifting, gifts are never taxable to the recipient.
Never taxable to the recipient. They can be taxable to the giver.
Interesting.
There's lots of ifs, ands, and buts to that.
Normally there is. It's the tax code.
That's right. So we're straying into two different kinds of tax here. One piece of that is what's known as gift taxes, and they're related to the estate tax, which is an asset-based tax when you pass away, tying us into the last segment. And you can, if your gifts are less, if your gift to a person is less than the annual exclusion, no reporting is required. If it's more than the annual exclusion, which is $18,000 for this year, then the giver can choose to pay tax or not. And you may say,
hold on, I'm taking notes here. The gift is $18,000. So if I wrote you a check for $18,000, I gave it to you, I would get a deduction and you wouldn't pay taxes on that money.
No. We're talking about the gift tax here. So nothing about income taxes. This is all about asset taxes.
So giving it to you would not be taxable, but do I get a deduction since I gave it to you? Does it come off my income?
Unfortunately, no, you are not. I am not a charity.
Would you like to be?
We'll talk about that's a different day's episode.
But so you can give away this money, but you mentioned earlier if people have some higher net worth, they can go above this $18,000 and maybe give some money estate tax free.
Yeah, so this ties into that estate exemption that's reducing at the end of next year. And so if you make gifts that exceed that $18,000, it starts to eat into your lifetime gifting exclusion or your estate exemption. It's really the same idea there. That's that big $13 million per person number that's in play right now. And so if you make gifts using that exclusion, even after the limit drops, whenever it may drop, that those funds have then moved outside of the gift tax, estate tax regime.
What's coming into my head right now is I know Danny has an appointment just this afternoon or today with the client that he met with that has the $15 million that they sold the business. This would be something where if they wanted to give away $1 million or $2 million, they could do that at no tax to them. But why the exemption amount's higher, they still need to file some paperwork and do some proper things.
Yep. You can't use the exemption if you don't ever file a return showing you're using it.
So if they wanted to give maybe a couple million away to a trust to do some different tax planning or estate planning deals for them, you know where I'm going with that. That's to their advantage where they could do that this year. And then all of a sudden, I know Trump's wanting to lower taxes, but you and I know the math is it's going to be a challenge.
It's going to be a challenge, which means there's going to be some horse trading going back and forth. Nobody's going to get everything they want. Everybody's going to get something they want, I think. So it's just a matter of priorities.
But if they lower this estate tax exemption out of a cost of trying to lower income taxes, then this client that has 15 million plus bucks, because I think the estate tax exemption is scheduled to go down to like 12 million or something like that for a married couple.
For a married couple, yeah.
So in 2026.
That's right. And that's assuming there's no new legislation, which we all know that's not going to be the case. So, I mean, there's people smarter than I are talking 3 to 5 million range.
Yes. I would agree with that.
Yeah. And so that's going to get a lot more people than where it's at now.
So if you have these high net worth estates, you need to be working with a tax planner and your financial advisor to say, hey, are there things we can do to move this outside? Because the limit right now is what, $26+ million if you're a married couple?
Yep.
So you could give away up to $26 million this year and have no estate taxes due on it.
That's right. That's right. But remember, this is all about the estate tax that happens when you pass away.
So
this is not an income tax thing.
And if you go over that amount, you're losing almost 50% of it in taxes.
Yep.
And so if you're high net worth value and you've not done, if you've had a real growth in your net value and you've not really looked at your estate plan, maybe you need to come in and talk with a team that can talk about these issues.
That's right, because when we all sit down together, that's when all this magic starts happening, and you get these answers to the different components all coming together at the same time.
Are your retirement professionals cooperating? Are they working in cooperation with each other to navigate and get you issues before they cost you lots of money or lots of headaches? Well, if you don't have that team and you wonder if you could reach out and schedule a conversation to see if you could benefit from this team, you can do so by calling 833-MAG-REPORT, or that's 833, the letters MAG for Market Advisory Group Report, or you can go over to our website at retirehour.com or marketadvisorygroup.com. Don't forget to check out our other television and programs. I'm not sure your Taxes and Tacos is quite aired yet, but looking forward to that. But also, again, congratulations to Jay Miller as he retires down and goes back to his family in Dallas. Thanks for all the help and joy he's brought to Wichita and the Wichita Wind Surge. We appreciate that to Jay Miller. That's all the time we have this week. See ya.
Unless otherwise indicated, all client names have been changed to protect their identities. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns are not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. Legal services are offered by Edelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not in any way refer to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. The guest commentators featured in this show are not investment advisor representatives of Foundations and do not provide advisory services. Market Advisory Group does have several investment advisor representatives that can provide such services. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any U.S. government agency, the Social Security Administration, or associated with any federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal/tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies. All rights reserved.